Okay, so I love Halo, and that's probably going to be pretty apparent in this video, as I'm kind of going to go on a rant. And I'm not doing this because I hate the game, I'm doing it because I like it and I want it to succeed, so please keep that in mind. Basically, my issue with the game right now is that it was not launched in a state that it should have been launched in. When Halo was announced on March 12, 2019 for PC, they were basically, the whole point of it was that they're gonna do it right. They're not gonna have a repeat of MCC for the Xbox One, and they're just gonna try and, you know, just release it when it's ready. And that was the whole motto: we'll release it when it's ready. It's coming out when it's ready. And that was true for quite a while. In between when it was announced on March 12th all the way to when it was released on December the 3rd, there was, like, I think I did the math, like 266 days in between those two dates. So they definitely spent a lot of time trying to get it right. Now, the problem is after doing a couple flights, the last flight they did, and they basically announced that they're going to be releasing the game a few weeks after the flight. And the problem was that during that same flight, they had quite a bit of issues, like the mouse and keyboard wasn't working very smoothly, and there was just a whole bunch of other stuff in there that people were complaining about. And a lot of people were confused as to why they were going to be releasing the game so soon, after a flight that was good, but was definitely not perfect. And so naturally, people started speculating that perhaps this was Microsoft, and Microsoft was forcing the developers to release it early and release it before Christmas, so that more people could buy it. And this was probably true. There's no way to confirm, but just based off of them going from, yeah, we'll release it when it's ready, to just kind of almost instantly releasing it after I think it was like the third flight, you know, it seems like something happened in between there. But regardless, you know, the devs don't really have much of a say in that. If Microsoft says it's going to be released on December 3rd, it's going to be released on December 3rd. So you can't really fault them too much for that. But honestly, at the end of the day, it doesn't really even matter whose fault it is, because, as I'm going to say, in my opinion, the issues that came out from the launch were enough to impact the game. So if it was the developer's fault or if it was Microsoft's, to me, it doesn't really matter. But anyway, regardless, the launch comes out on December 3rd. Everything goes pretty well. Servers don't die, which was great. And, you know, things seemed to work. Hype was at an all-time high. Streamers were playing the game, including, you know, big ones: Dr. Disrespect, Summit. I'm not sure, I think maybe even Shroud played it. So yeah, you know, everything was going to plan. And by the first day of Halo Reach launching, I think it had like over 160,000 players, and I think it was the third most played game on Steam. Today, Halo is 22nd most played, with a peak of 23,000 players, and it also just lost its only remaining big non-Halo streamer, which is Summit 1G. So what happened? I think the first thing, you know, is that, you know, the hype died down, which is pretty natural for a game that's just coming out, especially one that was, you know, as overhyped as Halo. And I don't think Halo was necessarily overhyped, but I think it was hyped to the point where some people were gonna just play it for a couple hours and then stop. So I think the decline in its player base is completely natural, as with any other game, really. However, I definitely think there's a little bit more to that. I don't think it was just, you know, hyped up and then when the hype died down, people stopped playing it. I think there's a little bit more to that, and it's the issues that I'm going to talk about. But before I really start laying on and, you know, going through all the issues, I want to clarify that I'm not shitting on the game for the purpose of shitting on the game. I love Halo. I have a huge respect for the developers for taking on such a huge undertaking of porting an old-ass Xbox game to PC and also making it work well. I'm simply just a fan of the game, and I just want to see it succeed on Xbox and on PC, and see some sort of revival of the franchise, especially with Halo Infinite coming out. And now that's, that's out of the way, I want to talk about some of these issues that really bother me with Reach, and I think these issues should have been fixed before the game was released, even if it had to take, going past January to keep on developing the game and keep on working on it. Okay, so one small thing that kind of irks me is the fact that if I'm trying to customize my character and I'm scrolling down with my mouse and hovering over all of these different variants, you don't actually see it update. You actually have to click on the actual variant and go through it to see the helmet. I think what they should have done is they should show you the base variant when you hover over here, because not everyone knows what a HAZOP variant is or how the EOD variant looks. And clicking it and then going back and then being brought to the very top of the page and having to scroll down again, it gets very, very annoying. Another thing, if they were gonna put so much emphasis on the character customization and using Unreal 4 to render your character and do all that stuff, then why didn't they make it so you could actually turn and zoom into your character and do all that stuff? Instead, your character is so static and you have to actually click on the specific part for it to zoom in, and if you want to look at that specific part and how it looks on the full body and get it to zoom out, you can't unless you've already unlocked that part and can equip it and then click back. So if you see what I'm saying, it's all kind of, it's there, but it's just not fully there, if that makes any sense at all. And another thing is with the colors, it's also a little bit messed up. What I do is, for my Spartan, I have brick on brick, but if I'm trying to preview another color like violet, and then I unhover from it, as you can see, I don't have violet equipped right now. I have brick equipped, but it's showing me the violet color, which is so weird. Like, I don't understand that. And so, like, if for example I'm previewing Orchard and I unhover from it, even though I don't have it equipped, it's still going to be showing me that color, which is just really weird. Another thing that really bothers me, and to me shows that they didn't polish the game as much as they should have before releasing it, is the fact that, one, you can't rebind the communication keys, they're just grayed out, and two, you can't bind multiple keys to one function. So like, you can't have toggle night vision bound to both 4 and R, for example, because, I don't know, you just can't. And these are all features that are pretty basic and really should be on a PC port of a game, but they're not. Finally, the last part of the UI problems is the fact that you cannot adjust your graphic settings beyond performance, original, and enhanced. I'm not sure, I'm guessing this might be a problem with the engine or something like that, but for a PC port, not to have actual detailed graphic settings where you can adjust every single part of the graphics, like the filtering, the texture quality, the shadow quality, all that stuff, and to just have it locked between little, like, 3 different presets, I think that's really bad, because it's a PC port, right? And, they said they'd get it right, but I think just over a month in of the game launching, and there's still no option for it. Now, let's talk about the progression system, which is just another thing that I think was just completely rushed, and I don't think they really thought it through, because while the idea behind it is kind of neat to be able to, unlock a season point every time you rank up, and then use that to buy armor, that's cool. But then what is the point of having to unlock all of this stuff linearly? Like, if I want to unlock this wrist reward for my armor, I can't, because I haven't leveled up to a point where I can unlock it. I have to spend my season point on this tier 52 reward, and there's no other option. So if they were gonna implement something like this and have it linearly be unlocked, then just get rid of this entire system, don't waste your time coding it, and just make it so you unlock the armor every time you rank up. Like, get rid of the season point thing. Or, alternatively, what would have been much better is, if you do have the season points, make it so that you can build up season points and use them to purchase armor. Like, maybe this thing can cost 6 season points, like this piece of armor can cost 10. And so not everyone's character looks the same in game, and there's actually a little bit of customization. Everyone looks a little bit different because they're not unlocking the rewards in a linear fashion. Another issue of the game right now is that you actually cannot crouch unless you're almost completely stationary. Like right now I'm running and I'm pressing down control, I'm spamming it, and I can't crouch unless like I fully come to a stop, or I kind of do the strafing thing, I do that, right? So another issue there. Another super annoying thing that they kind of messed up on is the mic. So right now, as you can see, when I hold down V, it has the little icon that indicates that I'm speaking. Now, to get this to work, I had to go through a crap ton of research, and I had to find this video on YouTube with like 1,000 views. And basically the idea is, if you have multiple inputs for your microphone, it's not gonna pick it up. So you basically have to get rid of all the inputs of every other possible microphone and just leave one remaining. And obviously not a lot of people are gonna go through the research to fix their microphone, and so you end up getting these big team battle games where on regular Xbox everyone would be talking, everyone would be laughing and screaming and having fun, and instead you get this mute game where no one's talking. And you know, some people might have mics occasionally, but most of the people just cannot talk, they don't have mics. And you know, it's just not even that fun because you're just trying to get kills. And you know, for social game modes, not to have the microphone and people talking, it's kind of a shame. The map pools are also kind of weird right now. It seems like when you're playing a playlist, it's always you're always playing the same maps or the same couple of maps, and those tend to really not be that fun to play. I think there needs to be some sort of veto, or they need to fix how the matchmaking works, because especially prior to the little patch that they put out, on competitive, you were basically just playing the same two maps all over again. Even now on the social game modes, there's a bunch of different variants of Forge World, but you're only really playing like one or two, not even just for Forge World. There's just so many maps, and it always seems like you're playing the same couple of maps on certain game modes and playlists. So they really need to fix that, possibly even add a veto system, because it's just getting annoying at this point, and a lot of newer players are not really having as much fun as they should be with the maps and the playlists. The uncapped frame rate is also having a lot of issues right now. Some person made quite a detailed video outlining exactly why anything over 60 frames kind of feels really bad. You could be playing at 144 FPS, but it just doesn't feel like it. It feels like you're still playing at 60 Hz, and it's a very weird feeling to describe, but you can definitely tell. Like if you're gonna cap your frame rate to 144 on Halo, and then you move on to another game like CSGO and you also cap your frame rate to 144 FPS, there's going to be such a major difference. And as you can see, I'm putting on the video right now. I'll link it in the description as well if you're interested. But the uncapped frame rate feels really bad. In the campaign, there's still a few issues with uncapped frame rate, like certain turrets rapid firing because of the physics or whatever, and the code firing too fast because of the uncapped frame rate. And a whole bunch of stuff like that. This is something I don't blame them as much for, because this is definitely something that is going to take a long time to rework the engine and make the uncapped frame rate work. But it still would have been nice for it to appear in a better state than it currently is in the live version of Halo Reach. The sound in the game is also completely messed up. There's a whole bunch of issues with the sound being muffled and there being stuttering and a whole bunch of stuff like that. I'll let Late Night Gaming's video kind of take over for a few seconds, because he really explains it quite well in his video. So just take a look really quick.
As it stands right now, the sound is completely wrong for the game. Music cues are sometimes completely off and mistimed in the campaign. Sounds are muffled and not prioritized in the correct order, with background ambience sometimes being louder than the actual gunshots themselves. The poor assault rifle sounds like it's being muffled by a pillow. During high-intensity moments in the campaign or firefight, audio can come out delayed or sometimes just not play at all. It's not uncommon to find your gun audio be completely desynced when things get heated.
On top of everything that late night gaming just described, there's also another significant issue that seems to happen with older hardware, where the game audio just completely starts to stutter, as you can see in this video.
Watch your sectors.
There's the communications outpost.
Leaving a distress beacon.
Now this is probably the issue that they should have focused on fixing before releasing the game. If they were gonna completely scrap every other issue and just focus on one to fix before the game launches, it should have been this. Because especially with the weird audio stuttering happening on older hardware, both my friends have experienced this and they're both new to the game. You're getting all these new players that are going in, they're trying to play the campaign, they're trying to play multiplayer, and on certain maps and most of the campaign, their audio is just completely bad and it results in a miserable experience and results in people not wanting to touch the game. The thing that annoys me the most about this port right now is the fact that, at least for me, the game doesn't seem to be very well optimized. I don't have the best PC, but I also don't have a crappy one. I have a i7-4790K, which used to be quite a decent processor a few years ago, and I have a 1070 as my video card. And so, you know, it's not a bad PC by any means. It's not very good either though. But I'm averaging around 110 to 100 frames on the original graphic settings, not the enhanced. And it's very hard to stay competitive with that because currently the unlock frame rate is just at a very bad place. The game doesn't feel as smooth as it should be for the amount of frames I'm getting. And in order to stay competitive, especially for the hardcore competitive playlist, I have to set my resolution down to 720p, and I have to go to either performance or the original graphics. And it's just kind of sad to have to do that in order to stay competitive on a pretty old Xbox 360 game when I have a pretty decent PC, if that makes sense. So I really hope that they address this and that they kind of manage to optimize the game a little bit better. I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe other people don't have these issues at all, but I'm just so used to playing at 144 Hz, especially on games like CSGO, and just having that responsiveness that comes with that. And it's definitely a shame that I'm not able to do that with Halo. And not to mention the fact that there's been times where my frame rate just drops down to 60 or 70, as you guys can see on the screen right now. I'm not sure why it does that, but it happens, and I'm pretty sure it's happened to my friends as well. And it's just not fun. It's not fun because the frame rate already feels pretty bad. It seems choppy and doesn't seem very smooth. And when it goes down all the way to like 70-ish, it feels even worse. And I really hope they can address this issue. Now, without getting too much into it, the controller on PC is also completely broken. There's so much aim assist that you get when you use a controller. And obviously you do need some aim assist on a controller if you're playing against people that are on keyboard and mouse. That's obvious. However, on more competitive playlists like hardcore, it's so unfair to be playing against controller players. You can tell it's different right away. You can feel when someone is using a controller against you and you're just getting 5-shot. And in my opinion, the controller or the aim assist for controller needs to be toned down for hardcore. As I mentioned earlier, the last kind of big streamer that was playing Halo, Summit 1G, it ended up uninstalling and stopped playing Halo Reach because of this exact issue.
To pretend that 5-shotting is not like an important thing in Halo, I think is just stupid, right? I have all these people that are like, you know, telling me all those things. Like, you don't need to be 5-shotting. You don't need to be competing, you know, in 1v1s against these guys who've been playing the game for 12 years, right? You don't need that. You just need good teamwork and, you know, the whole shit I just said. And it's like, nah, man, that's not all you need. That's bullshit. There's so many clutch moments that happen in Halo. So many 1v2 moments you have to clutch up to get a flagpole. There's so many moments where your fucking shot matters, and if you fail, your team has to reset a full setup. It's ridiculous to assume otherwise. because all that stuff that I might have, even if I gained all that as a mouse and keyboard player, even if I got all that and I became super 200 IQ in Halo, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't amount to anything because I can simply be replaced by a fucking controller player who can 5-shot more consistently than me and make all the same decisions. You know what I'm saying? So just, it doesn't make sense to me that you could justify that, because there is a controller player that can replace your dumbass regardless.
On top of that, many other Halo streamers who are good at the game and have been playing Halo professionally and non-professionally for years, including Naded, have just said on stream that they don't play the PC version because if they're going to be playing on a controller, it's completely unfair to PC players on the hardcore playlist. And I completely agree with him on that. The aim assist is just so much, and basically on rank 20 plus, you're mostly playing controller players, and you definitely feel it. So they really need to tone down the aim assist in the hardcore playlist. On Big Team Battle and other game modes like that, it doesn't really matter because of the bloom and all that other stuff, but for hardcore, it definitely needs to be toned down. And I guess you could argue technically, well, why don't you just use a controller? And there's a simple answer to that, which is I'm playing a game on PC. I should not have to use a controller to be competitive against other controller players. On top of that, I haven't used controllers since the Xbox 360 days, and I'm not gonna be good at it. You're not just gonna instantly pick up a controller and be better than everyone else. But the point being is that a average controller player will most likely outperform a experienced PC player that's playing on keyboard and mouse, and that's the whole point. And again, I'm not asking that this is changed for all the playlists. I think it should just be toned down for the hardcore playlist. The game also is in a weird position right now because they released on the 3rd, and from December 3rd to today when I'm recording this, which is January 3rd, there has been one small patch which was like 10 megabytes, and that patch just fixed like 1 or 2 bugs and also changed the way that the weighting was for some of the game modes and some of the maps. So that's basically all they've done. Understand that Christmas came along, so some of the developers, or I guess all the developers, were on break for a little bit. But I definitely think some of the issues I outlined should have been fixed by now. Like, it seems like, for example, all those issues with the crouching and the rebinding of keys and stuff like that, that stuff should have been fixed within a few days of the game launching. But instead it hasn't, and it's been a full month now, and nothing has really happened. So I really think they need to take all these issues and start fixing them, and start patching the game on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, because I don't think there's an excuse for not doing that. Honestly guys, I've outlined a lot of issues in this video, and as I said in the beginning, I'm ranting, but it's because I like the game and not because I hate it. I really hope that we can just see how Halo Reach went wrong, and also how they went right, and take those things and use them for the new Halo games coming out, like Halo Combat Evolved, Halo 2, Halo 3, all of those. Because I think we should be able to learn from our mistakes, and they should be able to fix a lot of the issues that currently exist in Reach, and make sure that they don't happen for the other games coming out in the MCC. Even with all these issues I listed, Halo Reach, you can buy it for like $10, and it's probably some of the best $10 you're gonna spend. You're getting campaign co-op, a crap ton of achievements you can try and get. You're getting Firefight, which you can play solo, matchmake, play with friends. There's a bunch of social game modes, there's competitive game modes, and there's armor customization. There's so much stuff, and for $10, please don't take this video the wrong way and just not want to play the game. It's totally worth it. I'm simply making this video as a way to hopefully, you know, just show the issues that need to be fixed and make sure that they don't happen for the other games coming out. Thank you so much to the developers of the game, and thank you for Microsoft for porting the game to PC after so many fucking years. It's a fucking miracle, guys. It's an absolute miracle that this even happened in the first place. And I don't want to sound like I'm some spoiled like person, like, oh, they've brought it on PC, but I'm still gonna shit on it. No, that's really not what I'm trying to do here. So again, thank you so much to Microsoft and all the developers that worked on this and are going to continue working on the other games for the MCC. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and yeah, bye for now.